quickly. Actually, I don't even need this open, actually, but screw it. We'll just go with it anyway. We will just go with it. Right. That'll do. I could have actually just left this starting soon on, actually. But, yeah, whatever. Yo, George, how are we doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream, pal. How are you doing, mate? How's your day been? Looking forward to fantasy later on, but we'll discuss that a little bit more later. Can't wait to hear these questions being answered, bro. We're gonna do it at the end, man. We're gonna do it later on at the end. Absolutely, man, 100%. But welcome everyone to the podcast. Welcome to Miller, who's finally back. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, man. Yeah, you?
Yeah, not bad. Not a lot of people will know this, but it's been a very rainy week, hasn't it? It's been a very shit week around our parts.
That is the biggest underestimation of the century. This is the shittest weather we've had in a long time in our homeland. We had power cuts this week, multiple power cuts.
We had 4 in the space of an hour.
Yeah, I was trying to do the Rooney SPC, right? And I finally done it, right? But it took me so long to do it because I was trying to complete it, and my Xbox would keep also turning off because of the power cut. I'm like,
yeah.
I was going mental. I was like, that pack better still be there. That pack better still be there. I was going mental, bro.
I know, man. Oh, it's been absolutely chaos, which is kind of probably maybe why we've left this pod as late as we did. We said we didn't specify a day, to be fair. But it's been a bit shit lately. But we are here. We've actually timed it quite well, to be fair, because we've actually managed to do it a day after the Premier League midweek fixtures have finished. So.
But the fixtures are coming thick and fast. So don't blame us people for missing out games because they're a day or two later. They're coming thick and fast.
If you were wondering, Matt redeemed Make Me Dab. If you're wondering what that was.
I did slightly see that dab. I was like,
we give the people what they want. But welcome everyone. As you can see, there is a poll because that is our first topic of discussion. And it has to be one of your old managers. Jose Mourinho is gone to Spurs.
Is he the special one? Is he the happy one, or is he the miserable one?
First half of the season, you've got to say Spurs looked very, very good. There's some people that thought, could be onto something here. But ever since, I hate to bring it back to this, but I think a lot of people have as well. That result at Anfield, it's just gone so wrong since then. Their style of football wasn't great anyway, in my opinion, but they were getting results, and all of it, they just don't look like a team anymore that teams fear, that really look like they can get a goal. They just sort of hope that they can keep teams out for 90 minutes and maybe just nick a goal or something. It's not a sustainable way to play football, especially at the top end of the Premier League table. And it's interesting because Andrew, who some people will know, Gorbag, as he's called, is a Spurs fan.
Yes.
And he was properly pissed off. It was just the way they're playing at the moment, and it's hard to disagree with him, to be honest. So, and he said to me right away, Jose's time is done. I'd have him gone. Give it to the assistant manager to the end of the season, because that lad just needs to get out of our club. He's so toxic. And it's not the first time this has happened. Obviously, United. His second spell at Chelsea didn't end well either. It's the sort of thing happened as well. So I'd be interested to get to see what your thoughts are, because you've been through this Jose period before, as a fan.
I kind of, obviously, I look at this one a bit differently because It's different for Spurs fans because I actually grew up in a Jose Mourinho era where trophies were won,
Hmm.
uh, and there was actually success before the bad. But Spurs fans haven't had success in many ways. They have had some Jose success. They had some Jose uh, encouragement. Things were going right, and people were praising them. I would praise them too. Uh, but then it slowly but surely, as it does, went to shit. Uh, is it Tottenham? Is it the juju that they have around their club, or is it him? Now, you can say both. You can either say one or the other because there's evidence to believe that it is both, or one or the other. So you can't really say it's all Jose because it's the players that are out there. They have the responsibility to bring in results, but there's other ways we can go. The tactics
Well,
don't.
he's inherent. He's still got Poch's spine of the squad basically at the moment
Yes,
as well. To be fair, he's managed to bring in a couple of his signs, which have been pretty good, but he's
yes,
still really got Poch. I mean, that defense is an absolute train wreck.
appalling.
It really
Yeah,
is. I mean, when they played us, last week, I thought their young lad Joe Roden was probably the better player, and that's someone that Jose brought in, I should say. So can you? I guess if you've still not managed to fully integrate, you have your squad. I mean, look at Jurgen Klopp for example. It took us quite a few years to eventually get rid of Brendan Rodgers' squad. If you so, do you think maybe he in that sense you have to give him another season of maybe another transfer window, another summer transfer window because January transfer window is always a difficult one to sign players, just because of clubs don't want to let their players go. Obviously, COVID as well changes everything because of all the regulations and stuff. So, in a sense of that, do you think maybe that's a valid argument to defend Jose potentially?
yeah. I guess. I mean, I've spent a long time. I'm still a big fan of Jose, despite uh, everything, despite going to two different PL rivals, betray me twice. But no, I do think he needs. I do think I'm not one of the people that are going to say he should be sacked because it doesn't emotionally affect me, and also them not doing too well also makes me quite happy. Uh, but
Take your Chelsea head away if you can. I always find it hard to take my Liverpool head off, but sometimes I kind of have to, right? So you take your
yeah,
Chelsea head. Okay, you don't hate Spurs, right? Let's think about a world where that is true. You do not hate
in a
Spurs.
world where that is not a thing, okay, okay, I understand. As a neutral perspective, I think if there's been managers sacked already, but right now you can't say that Jose has to be sacked. The reason why I think Gaw is correct is because he's coming from an emotional standpoint and
Yeah.
has frustration, which understandable. Gaw, if you're watching this, I understand your pain. Uh, but see, what you were saying was with his signing so far, his actual signings that he's brought in have been doing well. That's because they're his type of players who suit his
Yeah.
style of football. So I think if you give him another year, give him another 2 or 3 transfer windows, and if he gets the backing and he brings in his players and they do well, then what more can he do? Uh,
I think the problem is because obviously they've got this new stadium now. They're not little Spurs anymore. If you know that's harsh, but they can't be going back to not finishing Europe or whatnot. That's not an option anymore. They've tried to go elite if you like and stuff. And yes, they
yeah,
got Europa League this season, but that's not good enough for Spurs considering where they want to go. They've got some of the best facilities in Europe. That stadium's incredible. Their training ground is fantastic, and whatnot. So they've got a lot of pressure because you get a lot more money getting the Champions League than Europa League for sure. It's a ridiculous
yeah,
amount. And also if you get in the Champions League, think of the teams you play against, the global reach that you get and whatnot. And Spurs want that, and I think there's a massive fear now they're not going to get Champions League. It's going to be a second season in a row where they think they should be here in the Champions League, and not even in Europa League. They could not even be in Europe, and I think that's a massive fear from a financial point of view, I suppose. And that's what
See,
football is these days.
yeah, this is, I'll get into two things. I think one of the reasons why I was skeptical of the Jose appointment at Tottenham as well is because I thought it didn't make sense. Uh, I thought one of the reasons why they definitely did do it was because they need someone who's a winner, and he is a winner. But he's an aging manager, whether we like to say it or not, right? If he was to see this point in his career, if he was wanting to continue winning, and this is no disrespect, this is just how football is now, and how things have changed since he first came along. If he wanted to continue his winning path and his winning consistency, then I don't think getting another job in the Premier League was what he should have done. I think you've got this new young breed of managers that are who are ahead in a sense because they're kind of where he was when he was winning.
He's still trying to play the way he did with Chelsea in the 04-05.
Yes,
That's
and you
the
can't.
and
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
he can't. Listen, Jose Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world. He still is, in my opinion. You know what he's done at certain clubs is incredible and whatnot. And with Spurs, we're never going to say no.
no.
That's all. But I think the game is completely changed now. You can
Yeah, yeah.
and whatnot. I'm just going to read what Matt has said. I think the issue with giving any manager, never mind Jose, more time is that no matter who they get, I don't think Kane will stay for another 2 years if they aren't at least challenging for trophies. And I'm going to take that Kane word out of that and go, there's a lot of players in that club who, if they don't get Champions League football, they're going to want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can name you 5 players off the top of my head. There's Kane's a tough one because Kane might have that loyalty factor which players lack these days, and he might stay despite it because, he's 27. If he was going to leave, he'd have left a couple of seasons ago. So I won't put him into the 5 players I'm going to say. One player I think will definitely be maybe Lucas Moura. I think he might be one of those players that he was winning titles at PSG, even though that's not really he expected to win titles at PSG, but he was still used to winning things. So I think he'll want to, try go somewhere where he can start winning silver because these days footballers they want to have that silver. Also, the money's the biggest factor these days, but they want the trophies, and I don't think Bale will stay. I think Bale will end up going back to Real, and Real will just let him play golf for another couple of years.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the Bale situation because how long are we all going to use this excuse of he wasn't treated well at Madrid, he's not fit anymore? Because he has been a disgrace at Spurs. Not
Yes.
because he's causing trouble, but he doesn't look like he wants to really fight to get into that squad. I could be wrong, but he just seems so content in picking up his wages, getting a couple of little appearances off the bench. He doesn't
Now,
seem like he's desperate to break into that first 11.
now, I'm going to agree with you in many ways because I think he's lost his passion. I think he's lost his drive to succeed because he did reach the top, and it's much heavier going back down because this is the man, right? Allegedly, but it's looking more like it is. But this was the man that wanted to go to China just to get out of Madrid. Now, obviously, he wanted to escape Madrid, but at the same time, his wages were going to be doubled, if not whatever. But he can't obviously go there now because the China Super League got new rules and all that. But you've got to ask yourself, why did he go back to Tottenham? Was it a comfort zone because he's already been there and he feels like he can go there and get a wage, but also it kind of was his home for a long time, or the fans were treating him better because he was a hero there at the start of his career. There's a lot of things you can say, but I don't think Bale was the right transfer either. On paper, he was the right transfer because we've been saying for a long time that Bale was mistreated at Real, but now we're starting to see that he was kind of the problem also. So the grass isn't always greener when you go to Madrid,
Nah.
even though even though he did win a lot of trophies, and he was great partially when he was there, but it's all about the player. You need to give that little bit extra, and he's not doing that. So
I'm just gonna read a couple more comments. By the way, I don't know if you've seen the poll, but the winner was no. Jose should not. The time is not done at Spurs, which was quite very interesting to hear.
How many votes was there? Was there only one vote? How many votes?
There are a few. It's gone away now. I didn't realize it would go away. But it was. But it was like 80% that was like no. So I don't know how many people voted.
I mean, we've given valid arguments for both, but it's not. You can't really say that it isn't his time up, or it's how he does. Can he bounce back? Who knows?
So I've got George says football's evolved, got to keep up with the new wave of tactics. So I think he's agreeing with us on there. Wes is saying manager is better than the team in this case. No consistency among the players. Same problem Poch had. Honestly, Spurs just need to manage their expectations because they're not as good as they think. Also, Rai says I think Real Madrid killed him, which is Bale. And then. Yeah, very interesting to see what Wes said there, because I agree with him. They've sort of tried to do what City done without the money type of thing. I remember growing up in Spurs when we never, they were never in the top 10. They were never a big game or whatnot. And just slowly but surely, the last 10 years, that has changed. But they're acting like they're this big multi-club, and they just aren't. When they got Jose Mourinho, I could not believe that Jose Mourinho went to Spurs. I couldn't believe it.
Neither could I. I was gobsmacked.
At all. And I think Wes is right. I think they've got expectations that are way above what they could actually achieve at the moment. So I think that's a very valid point.
They've got the expectations that a team like Arsenal should have. Arsenal, who have won trophies in the past and have got that history. Tottenham don't have that. Tottenham were a team.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with aiming high. By the way, there's nothing wrong with aiming high. I'm not gonna sit here and say Spurs who they think they are, right? Aiming for the top. That's absolutely fine. But
see in this bracket, to be an elite club, you have to win trophies.
Yeah.
You can't act like an elite club and feel entitled that you should be an elite club if you're not bringing in trophies at the end of the day. Like, there's teams that have brought in more trophies than Tottenham in the last God knows when. Wigan have brought in a cup.
Leicester won the league.
Leicester won the league. I don't even think Leicester do not consider themselves an elite club. Leicester consider themselves a club that will consistently get better and is run great and has loyal players in it. They don't take themselves too seriously because they don't have to. They do their talking on the pitch. Tottenham do sometimes they're talking on the pitch, but yeah, they do have high expectations, and there's no reason for them to think that they're. It's nice to want to be there, but you have to prove yourself that you can be there. You need to win trophies.
Well, when they reached the Champions League final,
that's when it all went to shit.
Yeah, because let's be honest, we weren't expecting them to be there. Let's be honest. I don't think that's unfair to say. They got a lot of luck against. They got a lot of luck against City. And then Ajax. That young team who deserved to reach the Champions League final, they just collapsed for the second half, and Spurs took advantage of that in fair play. And I'll bring back the Spurs. I'm assuming most people have watched Spurs all on off the documentary on Amazon and whatnot, and you just see how much losing that final hurt not just the players on the pitch, but the whole club. And if I'm honest, it looks like they still haven't recovered from that final loss. In my opinion, they've got to be fair. They've got a League Cup final coming up. To be fair, and if they were to win that changes everything. Because winning one trophy can set you off. You start believing in yourself and whatnot. But yeah, that's my opinion of it anyway. I think some losses can be. I think that's why incredible what Liverpool did when we lost to Real Madrid. I thought, my word, this is going to kill us. This is going to kill us for a couple of years. We've lost the Europa League final. 2 years later, we go and lose a Champions League final against Real Madrid. The way we lost it as well. And that unique Liverpool team managed to bounce back and then not only get to the final again, but actually go and win it that time. And Spurs, they never had that bounce back, did they?
Yeah, this is the difference with Liverpool and Tottenham is you made it struggle to have success prior to your success these days. but yous are still an elite club. Do you know what I mean? You still have that drive. Your fan base knows about winning. Fucking the club. I wouldn't say your club is run like an elite club because it is an elite club. So when you've lost those finals, because Liverpool have lost finals before, and
Well,
they've won finals before.
For 15 years, Liverpool had this problem in terms. I'm talking about 1990s to maybe 2005 before Rafa came or whatnot. Liverpool, we weren't run as a proper elite club. We were trying to stay there, and we didn't do anything to stay there, if you like. Type of thing. It's only really been the last 5 or 10 years since FSG has come in that we've managed to get ourselves into the position where I think most people would say we're probably one of the most well-run club in Europe, potentially.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just going to read another comment for... sorry to interrupt you, but I've been reading this comment for a while and I've wanted to bring it in. It's from Rai, Tipsy Adonis. What are your opinions on Daniel Levy? He gets a lot of hate from Spurs fans, who I assume know more than me. But I think he's a solid owner who invests, but also doesn't put the team's infrastructure at risk.
I'll answer this one. I think as an owner, let's take away the owner of the club, because the club's a business. Every club's a business these days, right?
It is, yeah.
So if you look at him as the owner of a business, the man is doing an exceptional job. But when you're running a football club, it's different. You have to spend money to get success and battle these teams that have oil money, Russian money.
But I wouldn't say they haven't spent money, though. I mean,
they haven't spent money. The money they've spent is from players they've sold.
Yeah, I suppose, but they have spent. He didn't spend under Pochettino, in my opinion, nearly enough at all. He left him dry and whatnot. So Mourinho's coming, that was never going to happen, and they've had money to spend. They brought in Steven Bergwijn, they've brought in Ndombele, they've brought in Doherty, and they brought in a couple others as well. They've had money to spend, but yeah, it's a tough one for me because I think he's a really good owner, but if Spurs want to take it to the next level, do they need someone who has a bit more that can maybe afford to go and take a risk potentially in terms of investment?
They need someone like Abramovich, or they need someone who is hungry for success and will spend the bucks to get it. Because that's why Chelsea have been so successful, because Abramovich is driven to win trophies. That's why he went and gave Lampard 200 million, which it didn't work out, but that's why he done it, because he wants to win trophies again. So if Tottenham do want to win trophies, then it's not having a manager that is born and bred and has won so many trophies. It isn't enough in this current climate in football. You have to be spending the money as well.
I'll tell you something, with Mourinho, and it's only because Mourinho's in charge, they will win that League Cup. They'll win that. It's a one-off game. Mourinho, they'll win that League Cup, Spurs, in my opinion. I think they will.
I mean, you can't argue for not, because he's won League Cups, he's won Champions, he's won everything.
He has won everything. In club football, anyway, he has won everything. Absolutely.
There's no point listing all his accomplishments, because we all know, because he tells you. So,
he does say it enough, to be fair. He'll never let you forget it.
This is a question I'm going to throw to myself. Do I want him to win a trophy? Yes, because he's brought my club success, and I don't want to be bitter, but I'd rather him win the trophy than Man City. And I'd rather he be successful than other managers, because I still have that emotional attachment. The man's still a good man. He did have a love for Chelsea, so I will not be bitter because of how he left or how his tenure ended. If anyone's going to win it, I would like it to be him, despite it being Tottenham. But yes, please.
Okay, I think I've got you talking about Spurs for long enough. I can see the hatred, the pain inside.
The tears, man.
So let's move on to more positive pastures for yourself, shall we? We did a long hour last week about Chelsea and whatnot, and obviously it was all about Lampard, and rightly so, of course. He'd just been sacked or whatnot. With Thomas Tuchel, well, we didn't know he'd come in. He was announced actually the day after I think we'd done the pod, which was quite interesting. Or
Yes,
maybe it was the evening.
they were watching.
They were. Well, maybe not, because I don't think you agreed that he was the right man, so maybe they weren't watching. But he's come in, 2 wins and a draw. Obviously, result yesterday against Spurs, not a bad we start, is it?
No, and I've been saying this. I don't regret what I thought of the potential appointment because it wasn't what I wanted, and I would stick to that. But, however, I did not say he would fail. I did not say he'd do well. I was like,
no, I didn't say that. I just said you didn't want him.
Yeah. But I said I'll back him. So I'm going to back him. And so far, I know it's only been 3 games. I've been chatting to a couple of pals about it, but it's only been a few games. But right now, we've not really struggled in games that if Lampard was still here and the team that he inherited, we would have struggled in those games. The Tottenham game, we wouldn't have won the Tottenham game if Lampard was there because of the way the team was structured. I don't think we'd have won that game the way we did. Even though Tottenham were lackluster, it doesn't matter. We were a lesser animal than we are right now, which is quite strange. The Wolves game, Wolves got the better of us the game before, so that says it all. And Burnley were hot on fire. They beat Hughes.
Well, Burnley had a good record against Hughes as well, to be fair.
Yes, Barnes loves a goal against us, so that would probably have happened again.
Only the second best Barnes ever to play football.
Barnes a hero in my eyes.
But it's one key difference is he's brought back in Marcus Alonso.
It's funny you say that because I've said for years, right, Marcus Alonso as a left wing back is one of my favourite Chelsea players because he can do no wrong in left wing back. We've seen you move him about and put him in either left back or whatever. He does not suit that role whatsoever. The man, he has aggression, he has attacking sense, but he'll defend if he has to. He's not an out and out defender. So him in that left wing back role is a dream. I enjoy it. I like the whole 5 at the back concept again because we had success under Conte with it, and Mourinho can't use it time to time. So I'm liking the formation so far. I'm liking the way we're playing. I think we've not got attacking. We've not got that killer instinct yet, as you've seen in the Tottenham game. Because I was sitting screaming, going, "Why have we not killed this game off?
Why have you not put him to bed?" Yeah, but that'll come though. That'll come.
That will come because he's not had signings yet, obviously, but it feels like he kind of has because he brought back players whenever we weren't using, and they're doing well. So his tactics are kind of bringing something out in the team that we didn't have before. So it kind of feels like a new signing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. His possession base is what we were good at in the years gone by, which is a strength we have. He's given all types of players chances. He left out Mount in the first game, which I thought he's trying to make a statement.
Yeah, make a statement. Show that you have to earn my trust to play.
Yes, exactly. Because before that, Mount started like 50 games or whatever, and under Lampard, which he deserved to. He's a fantastic young player. But since he's brought back into the team, he's shown why Lampard has so much trust in him. He's such a good player, and I think he's enjoying the play so far. He did have an interview on some Chelsea forum where he did say that teams need to watch out for how these tactics are going these days, which I'll happily wait and see if those words are true.
Not to bring you back down to earth, right? And I hate to do this, right? But obviously you can't judge them after 2-3 games because
you cannot know.
I mean, look at Liverpool beat Spurs because Palace done so well, then we lose to Brighton. But we're coming to that. Anyway, obviously it's no Chelsea fan is stupid enough to go, "Oh, we're back. This is top 4, whatnot." Obviously, things will probably go wrong at some point during his during the last couple months of the season or whatnot. But it's a good sign though. It's a good start. And going back to the five at the back, I think there's many teams. I would even use Wolves as an example for this one, where obviously five at the back is frowned upon. People don't really want to play five at the back because usually it's you don't play good football and you're just going to defend. But Wolves, what they sort of did was they went, right, we're going five at the back, but we're going to push two wing backs forward. And then you guys followed suit, and it worked really well. And then you kind of tried to go, okay, it's a bit embarrassing to be using this now, which I don't know why. We need to go back to the proper back four or whatnot. And what Tuchel's done is gone in, no, this is how we can play. This is how I know we get results, and this is how I'm going to play.
If a manager goes results over, let's say, enjoyment of the game, because we also know I grew up in the Mourinho era where you didn't really enjoy games, but you got results. And I will say this: I would rather results and be bored during 90 minutes if we win than playing exciting football and losing. It's all about results in this, and I'll take results. And I'm liking the way he's playing. And also something to note, we have under Lampard, but also recently, you can't really blame Lampard all for this, but recently we've had such a bad record against the so-called top six, not the top six just now, but the big six. We had such an appalling record, and to play the first game against one of the big six and get a result, especially away from home, is such a nice feeling. And that's also an encouraging thing in this new regime, because that was one thing we struggled with, was getting that big W. And even though we had to discuss with Tottenham, it's one of the big six. We couldn't do it before. Now we're doing it. I'd say come back to me in his first 10 games.
Yes.
And if we're still getting results, let's say I'm not going to say this, but let's say we didn't lose 8 of those out of the 10, right? That I love that, but you can't really say we expect it. But see, if for instance we had 8 results, 7 wins or 6 wins, 8 results out of 10, then I could come back and go, this is encouraging. We're on the 30 game mark in the Premier League. Then in the last 8 games or so, strive for that top 4 position and just try get this season over and done with, and then we'll kick on the next season. That would be my mindset at that time.
I mean, we discussed obviously last week about Chelsea's squad, how expensive it is, how much money's been spent or whatnot. Yeah. Even though Tuchel's only just come in, and it's maybe very harsh to say this, he's been told he's got to get top 4.
Yeah, of course he has. Yeah, he's not coming in just to see off the season, because if that was the case, Lampard would have just stayed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's been brought in for top 4, 100%.
That's also why he's been given a short contract.
Yeah.
Because he's been brought in to see off the season, get top 4.
Were you surprised that he signed that short contract, by the way? Because there's a lot of managers that don't like that, though. They want the couple of years. We'll go back to Mourinho very, very quickly. The amount of money they're going to have to, if they want to sack him, that they'd have to pay Mourinho out because of the contract that he's on, is incredible.
See, I think this is what Chelsea should have been doing all along. Giving managers short contracts, because we're stubborn and we probably will sack them before the 2-year mark. That's how we work. So there's no point giving managers 3-4-year contracts, because they're not going to be there. It's all be radio. They won't be there half that time. So if you want to avoid your big payments, especially during COVID season, even though that's not really much of a factor, but it can might be, then the short contract's fine. It can be extended. Managers' contracts can be extended. If he does well in 18 months and they want to keep him, they can extend it by a year. Do you know what I mean? They can just do wee drips and drabs, extend it a year, and if it doesn't work out, then they can sack him. The payout wouldn't be that bad. So the 18-month contract makes sense. You get through the 6 months, then the 12 months, the year. If he does well that year, you can give him another year. There's no. I don't think there's any pressure in that. Even Tuchel said, because I've been watching his press conferences because they're quite interesting. He said he was off the 18-month contract. He got a funny feeling going, 18 months, don't really know. But then he went, wait a second here, this is a big team that I could be going to, and he trusts in himself, so 18 months is fine. And if he does well, which he expects to, because he has high expectations of himself, then he knows it will be extended if he does well. So it's down to him to earn, even though Chelsea haven't really shown that that they are respectful in that sense. But you need to earn. He needs to earn an extension.
Yes, and I think you're right, and I think it'd be quite good, but yeah, it would be a shame. Obviously, a manager comes in after, after not even getting a chance to do anything in a January transfer window, and then obviously he goes in the summer because they don't get top four. But I do feel like that's what something Chelsea would do. Just to finish off, obviously we did a little poll there.
Yes.
Not many people voted, which is fair enough. You don't have to vote. But the majority was no, you will not finish in the top four. So
I'll find you all.
we will swiftly move on with that. I was going to talk about Liverpool, but since we talked Chelsea and then top four, I'm going to just move a couple of topics around that I've got. So let's talk about Everton and West Ham.
Okay.
Now, we obviously know the traditional top four long gone 10 years ago. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea.
The big six.
The big four, big six, yeah, it's all gone.
Yes.
And there's been a couple of teams over the last couple of years who you thought, could they break into that top six? Could they be that pain in the arse, if you like?
Leicester are one of them.
Leicester are one of them. Wolves have been one, although not this season. But they have been since they've been in the Prem, fantastic and whatnot.
Yes.
Are Everton and West Ham being like that? And we've got to be careful with talking about Everton because let's not forget they're a big club.
Oh God!
I'm joking. I'm sorry. I could not do it.
I know. I had a total situation, but I think it's hit more closer to home with you.
Nah. No, we like Everton here. It's all good. We don't mind Everton here. But seriously, all jokes aside though, could Everton and West Ham break into that top four? Are they good enough to break into that top four?
I'm going to be harsh and say no. But what David Moyes is doing at West Ham is admirable. Actually, I'm like, he's building something here. Like, he's resurrecting some sort of fucking what he had at Everton. Maybe he's gonna build and build and build. He's putting trust in a lot of players. He's signing players that a big six caliber team wouldn't sign, and they're doing well. That Suchek, the CDM, I take
Suchek and Soufal have been brilliant.
He is amazing. Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's why FIFA have given 2 informs. I know what they've been doing. He's a solid CDM, bro. He, in my eyes, right now, at this precise moment right now, is the best CDM in form in the league right now. In form, not like overall, but in form is the best CDM in the league for me.
Well, we actually have got a West Ham fan with us, Stark and Blade, who I'm taking on in the fantasy later on.
Okay.
So be careful what you say about West Ham now.
Good luck, son. I'm rooting for you.
I mean, they played Liverpool at the weekend. It didn't go well for them and whatnot.
Yes.
But they dusted themselves down and they bounced back. For me, West Ham... They're a good team. They're a good team. They're not the same without the likes of Antonio. If you take Antonio out that team, they don't collapse, but they are not the same. I think that's fair to say.
They're a team that need their rocks, because if you take out a couple of players, then you start to see how they're not considered one of the big teams because they've not got that squad depth of high caliber players. And they've not got that this bigness cemented in them. They need those players to be playing, otherwise they will not get results because they've not got the squad capable of doing that. So if Antonio is out or if Suchek is out, or for instance, then they will struggle. But if they're there, it's most likely they won't, which is good because I do like West Ham. I do like West Ham. Even though they are a London club, they're not. I'm going to be harsh again here, but they're not like a massive London club that caused me pain inside. They're a good team, big fan.
It's interesting with West Ham because there's an elephant in the room, and I think this is a major reason why they are doing so well. And it is simply because they are thriving without the fans. Because unfortunately, there's so many problems still in that club, the ownership and whatnot. I don't think many West Ham fans are still happy with the way
Rightfully so.
the way the London Stadium is. I could be wrong here, and please jump in down like if I'm overstepping the mark here. You know your club a lot better than me. But I do feel like they are one club that are thriving without the fans, in my opinion.
Yes, and I know this is not what you're saying, but I'm just going to say it so in case anyone else feel about it. The fans, it's not the fans' fault. The fans are well and justified with their frustrations, because we've seen all the shit that's happened the last couple of years. The fans are unhappy at the way their club is run. They're unhappy that they've been done dirty the last couple of years. Which I've been a fan. I also support Rangers, so I'm a fan that has dealt with ownership that are scummy and shit.
You have,
yeah. So you can't put intellectual words into that. You just need to use the words that you know. Shit times have happened. West Ham, they were a team that should be in the Premier League, and then they get dicked around, and they went back to the Championship. Then, as soon as they got up, they started to go down again because they weren't getting investment in the right areas, and they weren't being given respect. And the fans voiced their opinion, and that's what you need to do. The fans deserve better. They definitely deserve better. And if they were here in the stadium, I think results kind of would be a bit different because they would still be showing their frustrations, and rightfully so. So I do agree with you. They have benefited from all of this. But
interestingly about the stadium, right? I'll ask you a question, right? Let's pick let's go 2010, right? Let's go 2010. There's one away game you fear on top of many others. Which away game is it?
What, Upton Park?
Yeah, that ground. It used to. I obviously never went. I was unfortunately never able to go. I've not been to many away grounds, for being completely honest. But whenever I watched it on the telly, or if you listen to past players or whatnot, you felt so caved in, and you felt the hatred of the West Ham fan. I'm talking as an away player now, potentially.
You felt claustrophobic.
That is the word I'm looking for, Miller. Claustrophobic. That's exactly the word.
Yes.
And they went away from that, and that season, but obviously, it got torn down. Unfortunately, they had a banging season as well. They beat United, did they not? On the last day or something before it got demolished.
They also beat Tottenham a good couple of times, didn't they?
Yeah, I did. They did.
Was that not at the time when Ravel Morrison scored like a double or something?
Yeah, when he was good.
Yeah, he's one of those players that I was really upset that he didn't turn into anything because he was a good player, man.
Anyway, my point is though, right, and the reason I bring that up is then they went from that type of atmosphere, and then they went to this big ghost town of an Olympic stadium, which yes looks pretty nice.
The fans are so far away, man. Like it's
you can't exactly.
You're no longer claustrophobic. You're just in a big, massive fucking swimming pool by yourself, and there's so much around you that there's so much things to do. There's not that same fear factor. So, and did Upton? I don't know this for a fact, but is Upton Park still there, or did it get demolished?
No, it got demolished. So it's not there anymore. So it's completely gone.
So it's like you've killed West Ham along with it. It's like you've killed. It's like you've killed all the history that they had, which is that is that ground was, and I hope this fan agrees with me here. You can't kill the heart and soul of the club when you've done that, and you're trying to turn them into something they're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're not a big club. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but is it worth spending all that money in that big stadium to then kill the drive and the energy that West Ham had, to then leave them with emptiness? That's not worth it. That's not worth it. I want to know who approved all this shit.
Well, that's why there's so many. That's why there's so many problems. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to say the results of the poll. A couple more people voted this time, but the majority was that neither Everton or West Ham will get into the top four. Our West Ham fan, Doc and Blade, says, I mean, this window alone is a joke. We sell one of our 2 strikers at the beginning of the window whilst in top 4 and don't bring in a replacement. If Antonio goes in, if Antonio goes injured, we have nobody to cover. And that is what it's going to come down to. And it's a very thin line to try and work like that. I think that, particularly how many games you got to play in a week now, because we're desperate to finish the season now before the Euros and whatnot. And West Ham are still in the FA Cup as well, of course, against United.
Oh, yes.
You know, that will be very, very interesting to see. Another couple of quick comments. Upton Park was Buteman says, right, seems to be a sad time for both these historic grounds being too far gone. Which is a fair point as well. I mean, Everton. I mean, we'll go to Everton now. We'll talk about West Ham. Let's go to Everton, who obviously are nowhere near where they used to be back in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. You know, and in recent years they've been not even managing to get into the top 10. They bring in. You know, there's not many elite managers. You could potentially put Carlo Ancelotti in there for me. I think what he's done in the game is absolutely fantastic. You know, absolutely brilliant. They bring him in, and he sort of changes the psychology of the club. A bit like Spurs, I suppose, again, where they haven't won something in a while, or not had success in a while. You change that philosophy. And whatnot, and for the first couple of weeks they were top. No one was catching them. Even we couldn't bloody keep up with them. And then they got a draw against us at Goodison Park, and they hadn't got any points off us for a couple of seasons. So he changed that straight away. Then they had that dip, which was always going to happen.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. It's understandable, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, I will not sit here and put the knife in. You know, they were sort of put back in their place a little bit. They were put a little bit back in their place. But anyway, and then last month or two, they've just slowly started to come back up again. They got an odd result against Newcastle at the weekend, fair enough. They did. I watched that game. They didn't play well at all. They were horrendous. That happens, though. And then they bounced back, and I'm sorry to bring this up, right? I know you're a Leeds fan, bro. You know, they get a very, very good result at Ellen Road, a very, very good result, and things are looking up again for them. And I think Everton, they're very similar to West Ham because they both can't afford injuries. There's a couple of players in there. You take those out, you're gone. You're absolutely gone. You got no chance and whatnot. Everton's maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you could argue potentially. You know, he's doing absolutely fantastic and whatnot. You know, but I don't think any of these clubs will be crying eyes that they don't get Europe. You know, they'll both agree it's been a very, very good season and whatnot. I would say grudgingly Everton have got a better chance than West Ham.
Yes. I totally agree with you. Their dip in form came at an expected point because, you know, when Rodriguez get injured, that's when it's what we're saying. Like, when you lose these key players, you start to dip. And when you lose a player like Rodriguez, who, when he came into everyone, was on a mission, bro. Like, this is where I'm only going to say this point for a wee thing, but that's when you need to think of the whole Bale and Real situation. But Real didn't kill him because it's kind of the same as Rodriguez. But Rodriguez actually came to a team and has shown his qualities, and he's not just came here for the money and done. He's got ambition. So he's kind of shown that statement to be a bit wrong on Bale's part. But when you do have players like Rodriguez out, Calvert-Lewin might have a knock or whatever, then you will start to see them dip again, or, you know, not do as well as they're doing now. But, you know this, a lot of other people know this, but I'm a massive fan of Ancelotti.
You are?
I do love a bit of Ancelotti. That's why I'm also kind of rooting for Everton. Not to get top 4 because I want Chelsea to be there, but I'm rooting for him to have a good season because I do have an admiration for Ancelotti. And I don't hate Everton, you know, because obviously you do, but I don't hate Everton.
Obviously, you're meant to hate Everton. They've not caused us, like, similar to you, they've not really caused us any problems, so I don't have the hatred towards them like I do with City and United and even Chelsea and whatnot. But they are our rivals, though. They are our rivals, of course.
Everton are your local rivals, and if it was different and they were challenging you for league titles every season and they were beating you and they were winning trophies, then the hatred would be different. It'd be more personal and it'd be more competitive.
But to be fair as well in that, I obviously don't live in Liverpool. That obviously can be a lot different if you actually live there and you deal with Evertonians day in, day out who, I'll be honest with you, if they're bad, I know a couple of decent Evertonian fans, you know, obviously Blue, a good fan, a good friend of the channel and whatnot, you know, it's a pleasure to deal with and we can have a good chat and it doesn't really get bitter or anything like that. I know yes. I know Evertonians are the other way round. I've got family who are the other way round. You know what I mean? So maybe because I don't deal with that on a weekly basis or daily basis, I don't feel that hatred or whatnot. I know a lot more United fans locally than Evertonians, of course, because of how big the clubs are and stuff like that. So maybe that is a factor potentially. But I like what they've done. I think Everton had the best transfer window in the summer. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Maybe they would have said Spurs, but I think if you look now, the Bale thing hasn't worked, something we've already discussed. I think Everton had a phenomenal transfer window. They brought in Allen out of Napoli, managed to bring in James Rodriguez, who everyone kind of thought was done, and came to the Prem, and his first couple of weeks was absolutely brilliant, absolutely superb player and whatnot. You know, they brought in Corey off Watford, who he's been okay. He hasn't spent the world alike, but he's a CDM. He's not going to do that and whatnot. You know, so they brought in some good players. There are probably a couple of others that I can't think of off the top of my head and whatnot. So Everton are going in the right direction for sure. Will they get top 4 this season? For me, no. I agree with the chat. I don't think any of them will. You know, but it'll be interesting to see how close they can get, of course. But I think Everton, they're doing very well. They're going in the right direction. All we need now is to get rid of Ancelotti and then go back into the bottom 10. In my opinion. Anyway, we'll move on from the top 4 because I don't know if everyone's been realising, but I've been stalling a particular topic, hugely stalling it because this could get
personal. I may need to be mute for at least about 20 minutes.
Nah, not like that. Listen. It was a great week for Liverpool. It was a very great week for Liverpool. We beat Spurs. You know, we didn't think that would happen. We scored some very, very nice goals. Salah was right back into his best form. Although I think I did say as well he was very good against United, so it didn't surprise me 100% too much. Yeah. You know, and then obviously West Ham. You know, against Salah, absolutely superb. It looked like we had the mojo back. And then you go back to Anfield, which used to be a fortress. Now, it might be harsh to say this after just only two games, two losses, after 3 or 4 years or whatnot. But I've seen this happen to City. Maybe not at home, but when City lost to Norwich, for example, if you remember that.
Yes, I do remember that following. We done a podcast on that particular game.
And I don't know why, but that was the game the teams went, we can beat these now. You know, we don't fear these anymore. We're going to go and do what Norwich has just done, and we know we can do it. And they went and lost a few games. And we go away with it because we've had a couple of bad results, but we've managed to bounce back. We've not had that result yet that really knocked us. But Burnley and Brighton, 2 home games in a row, and you've lost them 1-0. You didn't score against either of them. It's very, very, very worrying. You know, we've brought in, and what worries me as well is forget the scorelines for 2 seconds as well. You know, we didn't play well either. Like, we didn't even attack well. It's not like I went very scouse there, and I do apologise, but it was always going to happen.
The inner scouse is out here. We're talking about Liverpool.
You know, again, we was very, very slow moving it side to side or whatnot. You know, George, spot on. That's what I'm looking for. We became predictable. We could get it out wide and Trent will get a ball in, you know, and whatnot. And even when he tries to fizz it, teams know it's going to happen. You know, and obviously we're not in a great period at the moment, you know, so maybe last season, even though teams knew how we were going to do that, it was unstoppable. You couldn't stop it. That was why it was so beautiful, and so, you had to just admire what you were watching or whatnot. But at Anfield, we've lost our zip. I never watched us play at Anfield anymore thinking we were going to score goals, and it's a very, very worrying thing. Yes, we didn't have Mane. That's a big factor. That's a big player out and whatnot. You bring in Shaqiri and Bobby didn't start out because he wants to give him a rest. So you bring in Divock Origi. Now I won't slate these two boys because if you don't play week in week out, how the hell do you expect them to come in and do a job for us? When they have done in the past, it's been absolutely incredible. To be fair, Shaqiri's played a lot more than Divock recently, so maybe I can be a bit harsher on Shaqiri potentially.
Yes.
And you do lose that. But still, there's enough quality on that pitch to create some chances. Forget scoring. We didn't create chances, and that was the worrying thing for me. Salah had that big one at the start, first 2 minutes. That goes in, that changes everything, that brings confidence and whatnot. But I can't think of another moment apart from that where I thought we were going to score a fucking goal. And it's very, very frustrating, to say the least. I'm just going to quickly read out a couple of comments. George says, if we play a team that play deep, we run out of ideas. And that is fair enough. That's just the way football is. And obviously teams are going to do that. Are going to drop back and whatnot. You guys have that problem as well. Any big team has that type of problem.
That's the thing with these small teams. Don't make up. These are what the small teams do. With all respect to them, they come in, they're all rough and tumble, and they get results. And most of the time, they're successful because that's how it goes. So I was not surprised. I was kind of surprised with the Brighton one because Burnley are more of a solid team at Everton than Brighton.
Well, I don't think we were surprised with the Brighton one because we weren't playing well before that. We'd had some bad results and whatnot. I think the Brighton ones hit hard because we'd done so well for the last 2 games before that and whatnot. Another comment, Ryan says, Rigby, as a Liverpool fan, and I guess George too, does the behaviour of Klopp after some defeats make you cringe a bit? And I've got an interesting answer to this. Yes, but the interviews don't mean anything. How many top managers, even Pep Guardiola, have refused, and Jose Mourinho yesterday, refused to criticise his team or whatnot and just say a load of absolute shit to divert the headlines away from the team performance. How many?
Winners don't like to lose.
And I think that's what Klopp is doing now. And it can be cringy, of course it can, but I don't look into that too much. But yeah, they are cringy, of course. He says when he's winning, he has a breath of fresh air press conferences, and of course that's just the way things are. And you've got to. We've had a lot of injuries this season, a lot of really. We spoke about West Ham and Everton, how there's a couple of players you can't take out that team because if you do, they fall apart. Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez would have been high on that list, particularly Virgil van Dijk and whatnot. Yeah. But we kind of dealt with it. But it seems like every week or two, there's a new fucking problem. Fabinho gets injured. Matip is now out for the rest of the season and whatnot. We've had Mane injured for a couple of games now and whatnot. It's been a very, very frustrating season because we obviously were desperate to retain the title. And it just really feels like we're getting a lot of criticism, and rightly so, I suppose. But also, this is not a strong Liverpool. This is not a fully strong Liverpool team that's been able to play the last couple of months and whatnot. And you have to deal with that. You get injuries in football and whatnot. And Klopp is just getting very, very frustrated because you went from a season where no one could catch us to a point where we can't catch a break. You know what I mean? And that happens, of course. So I think maybe that's the reasoning behind that, potentially.
I don't know if you look into this too much, but I've kind of thought about it. Why is there so many injuries right now? That's what you've got to kind of actually. Why is there so many injuries in Liverpool right
Jordan
now?
Pickford. I'm joking.
It's starting to get way too far. I mean, you could say that, but why is there so many injuries right now? There's injuries all across the fucking board.
Well, at the end of the day, we're not in proper. No one's stupid. We're not in proper circumstances. COVID regulations and stuff. They play a lot more games. Yes, the players are used to playing a lot of games, but they're playing every 2 or 3 days for crying out loud. And things are different at the moment. Like you can't see different people and whatnot. The dressing rooms aren't that tight, closest that that obviously can bond the team together and whatnot. So there's many different factors, but in terms of the injuries, I think we've just been very, very lucky. We've had some bad tackles and whatnot, but that's football and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it's just really frustrating. And to be fair, going back to the Klopp point again, what I will say, right, is even though I do understand what he's doing, and I think a lot of people do, I do sometimes just think, just go and fucking slate them, because the performances sometimes of this season, even though we've had those problems, have not been very, very good, to be honest. And John again says Virgil more than just a player on the pitch. His presence picks the players up, I think, and that says absolutely everything.
Yeah, yeah. He's showing how good he really is. I think him being out shows how good he is even more, because you've seen how Liverpool's defence not capitulates but changes so much with him not being there. He's not just another number in your star-studded squad. He's that much important. He's probably your most important player, I'd probably say, at least recently. So having him out is a bastard for results. I think teams get more confident without him there, because he's aren't as solid, and they're going, the defense doesn't look that threatening. Like, let's pick it up a level. Teams give more of a shit, and they move another inch, and they give more because they know that the defense isn't that threatening, and that's how Anfield is kind of struggling in the moment, because he's haven't got that rock in Van Dijk. So teams can go, doesn't matter if it's home or away, let's go after them. Let's go at them. And you are suffering due to that. And I did say that last week, wherever the injuries have been a major factor in you not doing so well. So, yeah, the Van Dijk thing is the biggest negative, I think, this season. But he's well pick it back up as well. It's evident. He's have done it before. He's well pick it back up. You signed a couple of centre backs. I think you'll probably go into that.
Yeah, it was yeah. So we'll bring that in. So obviously, deadline day comes. Liverpool, let's be honest, do not leave it that late. Not recently, anyway. We're very good at getting our business done and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we're hearing the night before Ozan Kabak, it's going to happen. Oh, fantastic. And you wake up in the morning and then you hear, oh, and Ben Davies off Preston's also coming. And you're thinking, 2 centre-backs? Oh my word, we're it's Christmas all over again and whatnot, because it's just extra bodies at the back.
Yeah.
And then you find out Matip's injured, and then you're just like, oh, for goodness sake and whatnot.
The one that you signed too, yeah. It's like he knew that he must have knew prior to that he was obviously injured. It wasn't like when he was announced he was injured. It wasn't like it was that day. Like, it was built up over time. But the thing, I've listened to a couple of interviews of ex-managers of the press and all that. Ben Davies is a guy that he's going to work hard.
He's had to fight, hasn't he? How many talk about Jimmy Vardy and stuff, had to go lower leagues, had to really go and prove himself and fight to get into the Premier League. And it kind of feels like it's very similar with the likes of Ben Davies and whatnot. And when when you don't get given something handed to you on a silver plate, some players can, and it just works for them, but not many anyway. But how many occasions are we hearing where players have they really understand having to fight for something, and they bring that mentality into their new team, and it's just infectious, isn't it?
There's too many sensitive players these days who think they're entitled, and they think they should be given things, and that's the problem with this generation of players these days. But the players you need to admire these, obviously Vardy's a big example of players who were like factory workers, and they're the like top 5 scorers in the history of the Premier League. And Ben Davies does have that factor. He's a hard-working, solid defender who he's not the best in thing, but he has that extra edge that players don't have. He's got that grit. He has that determination. He has that little bit extra, and I think he will be very key for yous for the rest of the season and beyond. And I think you bring in Kabak, who's quite young, who has the quality, and who's a player for the future. But you've got Ben Davies for now, who I think will give us that extra bit of grit that he's been lacking in recent games. And who I think will be very important for us in the last 6
I
months of the
think
season.
the key thing we also have to remember though is, and this is the risk element of it, it's not even the leagues they play on or whatever. You're coming from teams that don't win every week. Schalke have had a horrendous Bundesliga. They've only won one game or
Yeah.
so, or maybe just a couple more in one game. Preston as well. They're not exactly fighting at the top. They're going to have to learn very quick. They're going to have to change their mindset very quickly. That
Yeah.
Liverpool win every game. They're expected to win every single game. It's just the way it is. And whenever Liverpool don't win a game, whether it's any game in the domestic season or whatnot, it's the biggest talk. It's the biggest talking points and whatnot. And that's going to be the biggest test for these players. Is that different mindset that they're going to have to deal with. But
Yeah.
listen, we have spent a lot of money on them. Obviously, Kabak is our loan. Obviously, we got the option to buy him at the end of this season and
A
whatnot.
steal, by the way. A steal.
Right, I don't know how that deal happened. I don't know if you're talking about Kabak or Davis.
Quebec and also Davies, but Quebec mostly.
Yeah, so Kabak's someone we've looked at for a while. Kabak was someone we were linked with in the summer as well. So we just have to. At the end of the day, you can talk as much as you want, but until you see them in a red shirt, you don't know how they're gonna be.
This is kind of a nice time for them both to come in because they're gonna need to show their quality very quickly. They've not got a pre-season tournament to go to kind of warm up. They've not got like reserve games and they need to come in and they need to show why they were bought in.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool's next level. Liverpool put trust in you. Liverpool put trust to bring you in. So you need to come in and show that quality and that trust real quickly. Real quickly.
It's interesting, right, that you've brought in Sheffield because it's going to really tie in with my final question, my final topic before we get into the questions, which I know why most of you are here.
Yes.
He says that Sheffield United were offered 8 mil for Ben Davis at the start of the season, which was rejected, which is interesting. But we'll move on to Sheffield United right now because they've had a turn of form, haven't they? They've had a couple of good results and whatnot.
Once they were branded the worst Premier League team ever, they started to get results back.
They I mean, if there's a team that listened to that pod last week, it probably was Sheffield United. We did mention them very, very, very briefly, of course, because they got the results at Old Trafford. And they won in midweek, I believe, as well, didn't they? I can't remember off the top of my head who it was. Was it West Brom? Was it West Brom? Sorry, yeah. Which was a massive result, particularly at the bottom of the table. Can they do it? Can they stay up?
I hope so, because I was a very big fan of them last season, but of how well they also done. So I hope so because they've got a great manager, they've got a great structure, especially what you've seen from last season. It's not really been this season; they've kind of had a really shit season, but they know themselves that they are better than this. They know that, which I hope they can get back on. They're showing signs, but it can change. For an instance, 2 wins is nothing. See, when you're in their situation, you need to grind out results. It's not just a win.
I agree with that, but the West Brom one is so big because that's telling the team that you're against, we're coming for you. We can beat you and whatnot. Any Old Trafford ones are flukes. They deserved it. Don't get me wrong, they did deserve it and whatnot. But they never expected to win that game. But they went to West Brom knowing they had to, and they were expected to win because they had to win it, and they delivered brilliantly and whatnot.
Yeah.
But talk about the transfer market. West Brom, they brought in faces. Some very talented boys. They brought in Maitland-Niles went to West Brom, didn't they? On loan. They brought in a couple of the boys who I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm an idiot and didn't write them down. Sheffield United, as far as I can think, didn't strengthen as such. So, it's going to be a very interesting battle, and whatnot. Particularly at the bottom, see Sheffield United, your Fulhams, your West Broms, maybe Newcastle and Burnley will get dragged into it. Although I think they've got a little bit of a gap now. Newcastle's win against Everton was massive for them and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, and Burnley's win at Anfield was massive as well because it gets you that edge a couple of points away. So I think the gap is about 9 or 10 points now between those two teams out, but to the bottom three.
See, that's just what's crazy. I hate to cut it off, but this is what's crazy about this season, particularly because there's not a lot of points difference between the top 6 and the bottom 6, which is crazy to me. I mean, obviously Sheffield United have got a bit more to climb, but it's like in the structure, a good few wins does mean a lot because not a lot of teams want to get a consistent run going, especially this season. It's all over the place, and I think we discussed that last week. So them getting a couple of wins is massive, but the wins that are more important than what you just said was wins against West Brom. They need to beat the teams that they're fighting against.
Yeah.
Because it's all nice going and beating United, but you need to make sure you're winning the games against the teams that are with you. Because if they drop points, you get points. That's
exactly
the ladder.
Exactly that.
So very important. Obviously, the United one's obviously important. Obviously, it's more 3 points. But if you're talking about importance in long term, that win was the greater objective one there. So yeah. What was the point you were going to go to?
No, there was no point. I was agreeing with you.
That's a first.
Yes, it is a first.
There.
So that's all the topics that I've got. Well, I was going to mention United, obviously record breakers and whatnot. We'll mention them very, very, very briefly. Very good result, 9-0 and whatnot. Jankovic, what in the living hell is he doing? The young lad who gets sent off. That's such a leg breaker.
What I heard?
Go on.
What I heard?
Go on.
I heard he doesn't want to be at Southampton and done that to try and push himself out the door.
Well, if he's doing that, he's a fucking idiot because Southampton is not a bad club to start your career at all, is it? How many top players have done that?
I get told that he wanted to leave and they wouldn't let him, and then that's what he done. It could be speculation, it could be bullshit.
Fucking hell, Miller's got fucking Southampton in his fucking phone. He's got the fucking inside word here, man. Bloody hell.
I'm a Twitter fiend. I'm addicted to Twitter. Okay.
Right. We're running out of time now. We've got about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to move on to the questions. Question time. Thank you very much for the follow. It's Brit Gaming, by the way. And thank you, AKNKIGO. I can't say a full name because I'm an idiot. I do appreciate the follows as well, guys. Absolute legends. But we have got questions. Now, this is where there are some questions which are better than others, shall we say, but we are going to answer every single one.
Quite steep, but
well, I've written down all the questions that were done before 5 o'clock because I had to prepare for this pod and whatnot. So unfortunately, if your question isn't here, it's more than likely that I didn't see it in time. It's as simple as that. Shall we tell you what? Shall we get the ones that we want to move swiftly along quickly over first with? Shall we?
Get the shit.
They're not shit. They're not. No. That's your words. Your words, not
my
mine.
words. Come at me.
So the first question, I haven't written down who it is either. So I'll just try and.
Who do we know?
Remember off the top of my head. So this one was from Dan. Farsiart, who obviously he's just dropped a album which I've listened to, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't listened to it already, do type it in. Blue, you have arrived at the correct time. Who has the nicest smelling taint?
I don't know how to answer that one.
Think about it.
Can't.
Shall we move on from that one? I'll tell you what. I've given you that thought, right? So I'm going to let you answer that one at the end. Sniff it in Blue says. George says Giroud, it has to be Giroud all day. I'll tell you what, I will come back to that one for you, shall I? You can answer that one at the end after a little bit of thought.
Okay.
If you... Not insinuating anything here, but which Premier League player would you like to have a relationship with?
In what sense?
And I think you know which sense.
Okay, I do know what sense. I was hoping there was going to be some sort of way out of this.
No, there's no way out of it, mate. We're doing this. We're doing this.
Right. Okay. Okay. Kurt Zuma, he's my boy.
George says who would treat you well. I think that's a nice way of putting it. So who did you say, Kurt Zuma?
Kurt Zuma, because I think he is my boy. He's got abs in his back. He's a man. Also, I think he could try and get me to, get those guns up and running. He's quite a physique young man, so maybe he can help me out. But yes, Kurt Zuma, don't mess with my boy.
Well, if I would pick James Milner because then Rye couldn't have him. So that's my pick.
Alright. Okay.
Moving on. Another one from Dan Fasty Alt. Should referees be allowed tasers?
Yes.
Why?
Because referees are getting a lot of hate just now, and I feel the referees are a godsend, so just give them tasers.
I mean, to be fair, they dive all the time anyway, don't they, footballers these days? So just help them along the way, help them to dive a little bit. You know what I mean?
Let's give them a reason to roll about the floor thinking that they've just been shot in the face. Let's taser them.
Because they have to ref players like Gary Medine. George says, "Bloody hell, you're gonna cause some upset with that comment." Henderson or Gerrard?
Gerrard, obviously.
Now, they're asking this because there was a particular stream, I think it was just after Liverpool won the league, that I was asked this. I was very emotional, and I shouted at them because I thought it was a stupid question, and I said it was obviously Gerrard. But I have gone back and forth with this because obviously Henderson has given us so much. He started a really shit team and he worked so hard. He's our captain, he's our inspiration. You can't afford to not have anything in the team, and we're missing him so much in the midfield. So it's a tough one. It's what everyone's expecting me to say, but it has to be Steven Gerrard because he basically because of what he done for us.
The little boy in you is saying Gerrard.
The little boy in me is saying Gerrard is the exact perfect way to say that because he just gave me so. If there was any positive moments for me as a child watching Liverpool, it was Steven Gerrard.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. Blue says, even as an Everton fan, I can see that Henderson is dog shit compared to Stevie G, which is absolutely.
I wouldn't say that, but Gerrard's just bigger than that. Henderson's still a really great player. Obviously, coming from an Everton fan, that'll be a different opinion. So I wouldn't disagree or agree with you there.
Okay. I'll have to explain this question. I understand this question. Which player would be most spreadable? So that's exactly how it's written. So basically, which player would you like more than any other player? I think that's what it's meant to be. John says, which player would be most spreadable on toast?
I don't really know.
Think.
What would you say? Let's go to you.
Virgil van Dijk. Fucking rock solid, reliable, and it'll be very very tasty.
Kante.
This season or last season's Kante?
Any Kante. Kante is a lovely boy. Kante is a machine. I will never doubt Kante ever in my life. Kante.
I'm assuming that if Adam was here, he would not want the Barnsley Kante from the fantasy. Right, you're going to like this. This question is very, very related to you. You're the only person that can answer this, really.
Oh, God, okay.
Do you think Timo Werner will hit form under Tuchel?
He's not giving me a reason to say yes, but I'm going to say yes.
Because
I'm hoping more than anything. I'm clutching straws here. I'm hoping he's not showing me that he is, but I hope so.
I mean, we know how good of a player he is, and any striker can go through this. You go through a really bad goal drought.
He's getting to the points where he's got a worse touch than Lukaku, and he's also got to the point where he can't even get touch. Like, see the last game yesterday, he went to hit it and then jumped over it with both feet And I'm sitting going, no, please don't.
He's forgotten how to play football.
He's forgotten how to play football.
But it'll come.
It'll come. Yes, I hope so. Yes.
Blue says, Bammy is head and shoulders above Werner.
Who?
Patrick Bamford.
Right now, yes.
Be careful what you say about Patrick Bamford to these lovely gents.
He's one of our own.
He's one of your own. I think a lot of people do forget that he was part of your. He did come from you, to be fair, but he had to leave you. He had to leave you to become a good player, though.
He didn't become a good player until like 2 years ago, so he had to leave many other loan teams to be good. So yeah.
Patrick Bamford is Rye's doppelganger, apparently.
He's done well, but can he do it consistently over time?
There's 2 final questions.
Okay.
And this is a dig at me because and whatnot. Do you know the Leeds goalkeeper Meslier?
Yes, I have.
What's your opinion on
him?
What's your opinion of him?
He's good. I seen the question.
You've seen the question. I'm going to tell you right now, he is dog shite. He catch a ball. We spoke about butter. His fingers are made of butter. How many times this season I have seen that boy drop the fucking ball and nobody has been there just to tap it in. He's such a lucky boy. Any goalkeeper can be a good shot stopper, but the best goalkeepers are the ones that dominate their box, that manage to grab the ball and what's the word I'm looking for? To alleviate danger and whatnot. And for me, he is not that. And Leeds are very, very lucky that he has not cost them more goals this season.
So the question was, is he the best young goalkeeper in the DPL? That's what the question was, wasn't it?
That's not the question that was asked. I just basically just got asked opinions on Meslier, but I guess that's the question we could say.
Meslier is good, but he's not the best young player in the league. I don't rate Meslier. He's alright. I don't rate him. He's alright. He's okay. I don't sit and go, he could play for our top 6 team in the near future. That thought never comes into my head.
I mean, listen, he's a young goalkeeper, and I do slightly over-exaggerate how much I think he's shit because it annoys Ryan and whatnot. I don't think he's very good, but he can easily get better.
But just because he's young, people want to put him in a category above his abilities. If he was 28, would you just be saying he's the best 28-year-old goalkeeper in the league? No.
Yeah.
He's not.
Fair enough. And one final question. I don't really know how to answer this. If you could sign a Barnsley player for your team Chelsea, who would it be? And I can see by your face you're going, I don't know a single Barnsley player.
I don't fucking know any Barnsley players. Right, try and name me some and I'll see if I recognise them. Try and name me some. 5. Try and name some.
Why you put me on the spot like that?
Because you decided to say the question. I don't fucking know it. I barely know who Barnsley are. I just know them because of FIFA.
Connor Chaplin's the one that I know, George, so I would pick Connor Chaplin. To be fair, I've just signed him for my Southampton career and he's been pretty decent for me, so I would definitely go with Connor Chaplin. It's been a while though since Barnsley have been in the Prem, so they kind of just get forgotten by Premier League fans, to be fair. Barnsley.
I have no answer. I don't even know who their manager is. I don't even know if they have a nickname.
Barnsley play Chelsea in the FA Cup next, aren't they?
Do they?
I might not be wrong here. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe that'll educate me. See if they beat Chelsea, then we'll do another podcast on that.
Another podcast on that.
Yes, a full 2 hours on why I hate Barnsley.
And so George is... You're not getting out of this. George is demanding that we go back to the best smelling taint question.
And what did you say? And what did anyone else say?
So I'm assuming you mean like the best smelling footballer. I'm guessing that's what they mean. I have not had the privilege to smell footballers because of the COVID regulations. But George saying Giroud, I completely agree. I think he would smell absolutely gorgeous.
Joe, I'm not saying it's you say it, but Giroud is a part-time model in his own eyes, and he's also French. French people take care of themselves most of the time. So,
what do you mean most
Joe,
of the time?
there's a couple that are a bit dodgy. But Joe, I'll either go for Giroud, or you could even go for some of the Liverpool lads because they've got plenty of those ads that they do.
Sure, mate. Sorry, Nivea Men, sorry. Nivea Men.
Nivea Men, yeah, they take care of themselves too. So either Giroud or maybe some sort of a Milner or Jordan Henderson.
I'm hearing Andre Gomez of Everton as well is an option.
That
Portuguese
man,
lad.
that man smelt more like his house because he was stuck injured for like a year.
You probably just annoyed a lot of people with that comment. I love
I
it.
aimed. That was the aim. That was the aim.
And I believe that is all the questions that I wrote down anyway. Thank you very much, everyone, for sending them in.
I like the effort that was put into those questions. I would love some more next week or in the near future. That'd be nice. Question time is good.
Question time was class. That was very, very good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get some more outrageous ones. You've got a week now, guys, to think of some outrageous ones that could basically get my channel demonetized.
Post them on the comments and retweet us or whatever you want to do, because I want more.
I'm being told by George that my Salford, who's my team in fantasy, are being docked 3 points. So that I'm not sure it was worth doing the question time after all.
Don't make it personal, guys. It's just business.
it's just business.
It's business, man.
Con says, in next pod, if we beat Chelsea, I can't wait.
Do you know what? We'll have him on. If you beat us, we'll have you on.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to spend an hour. I'll tell you what. I'll set it up. I'll grab myself a couple of beers and I will just sit back and enjoy the show.
In fact, here's something, right? See if Barnsley beat Chelsea, right? I will open this case and I will drink this live on air.
Oh, bloody hell, lad.
Big bottle of scotch. If Barnsley beat Chelsea, I will drink it all in one and hope that my insides combust.
On stream?
Yes, on stream.
At 9 o'clock in the morning?
If you want. I won't sleep. I'll be up all day, miserable, so I might as well.
Right, says me, you 2 hour debate. The Mes League podcast.
Let's do it. I challenge you to a duel. Let's do it.
Not drink a duel with me because I can't drink that type of stuff. It doesn't do that for me. No. If Liverpool win the league, you all seen what I was like when I had to be uncontrollably happy to drink that much. And
hard liquor. Yes.
But anyway, that is it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I've really enjoyed the last hour and a half. It's been an absolute pleasure to just talk football, get your thoughts, have a bit of a laugh as well. It's been absolutely superb. Miller's been an absolute gent as well. It's been a pleasure to have on as always.
Oh yes. Always a pleasure.
We are going to do a podcast for next week. I'm not going to put a poll for next week because I already know what we're going to discuss. And it's going to be a Champions League / Europa League preview because, of course, that competition will be getting underway the following week. So that is going to be the topic. I'm not sure what day we're going to do the podcast again. It will be next week. We'll organise that amongst ourselves and we'll both tweet it out. So just keep an eye on us for that. I don't know if there's anybody that we can send a quick raid to. I know that I don't think Blue Danes will be on just yet, unfortunately. So I'm not really sure if I want to send gist to anyone because they're not really going to get too long. But if anyone's got a quick person that I can raid, do let us know in the comments very, very quickly, of course. But yeah, you happy with that topic, Miller?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Very encouraging.
Both of our teams in the Champions League as well, so it'll be an interesting little talk, I suppose, a debate, I suppose.
Can Chelsea's fortune continue?
I just quickly remind everybody knows this already, but the tactical mastermind that is Matty Mason is of course on Blues Deck tonight, and of course I will see you all in there for that. George, yeah, let me know of a quick raid. Yeah, bro, go for it, mate. very, very quickly. I'm kind of just stalling now, waiting for Jordan. I did just see TBTV official. So yeah, we will send you guys over to him for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes before Blue Danger start. But once again, thank you very much, Miller, for joining me. It's always been a pleasure. Have a lovely weekend, as best as you can. Hopefully the weather gets a little bit better.
I doubt it, but I appreciate your encouragement.
Well, I'll tell you something, if the internet decides to go off during the footy this week, and there's going to be a lot of anger from my part.
Fucking hell to pay.
But I will see most of you guys this evening on the Fantasy and a Blue Day and all that. So I'll see you guys very, very soon. But yeah, that's all from me. Take care, all.
See you all later, guys. Take care.
And we will send everybody to TBTV_official, who is a top lad playing FIFA 21 Division 1 rivals.
Division 1? Jesus fucking Christ, I'm in Division 4.
Mate, I'm in Div 3, you suck. Actually, guys, very quickly, if you haven't gone already, remind me to tell you guys the story of when me and Miller played FIFA in Miller's house. You will enjoy it.
I can't remember what we did.
Oh, you did, bro. You did. Anyway, I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger. Take care, all.
See you later.
And that is the raid done.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
That was class, that, mate.
Nah, I think it was better than last week. Last week was good.
Yeah, I think we lost it a little bit at the end with the Sheff United thing, because I don't know too much about the relegation battle, but I thought I'd just leave it a quick mention.
Can't have it all, can't have it all.
No, you can't have it all at all, mate. But yeah, that fancy thing I'm involved in, you should check it out. It's on Jordan 1892. It's just
always kind of breeze past it. We'll have a look proper.
Yeah, man, it's just a laugh. Everyone's basically got their own teams, and like you're basically the manager, and they sim the games. So after the game, they do like a sort of match conference at the end where you jump in, you just act like the manager and stuff. It's just a bit of a laugh. I think you'll quite enjoy that type of thing, actually.
If it goes along next season, I might jump into something like that.
Yeah, man, 100%. But I jump into there's only 3 games left, 3 weeks left now. So there's 2 weeks after this one left of the season. So yeah, man, get involved if you can, bro, for sure.
No, sounds good. So obviously that was live. So are you posting that on? Are you posting it just on your channel as same as last week? Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do it like that, because it's a lot easier for me because my YouTube channel is connected to my Twitch, so you just export it. Pretty much, it just does everything itself.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Send me the link over and I'll post it on Twitter and Facebook so people sort of watch it back. Whatever.
I will do, mate. I will do. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy your weekend. And I will speak to you next week, pal.
Oh yes, indeed, oh yes.
Take care, mate. Ta-da.
See you later.